Hello, One Great Earth. We got a little bit to get into. Do it slowly. It's something that we've been paying attention here. Is the H5N1 report regarding its species jumping to polar bears, humans, cattle, all sorts of birds, penguins, remote penguins. It's sweeping across the globe in a way I don't think we've seen before, at least have recorded. And more birds are dying. This is a period of great dying of species that seem to adapt and become rather robust when introduced with human civilization on top of their natural areas. These cases of H5N1, we're not really going to focus on the bird aspect of it, because I think I've talked about that before a few times, because there is human cases now being reported in Australia and the United States so far. This article is from Big News Network. Concern: dairy cows with avian flu could transmit virus to humans. The number of avian flu cases in dairy cows is holding steady in New Mexico. Yeah, more testing. Yeah, transmission to humans is cause for concern. Given that dairy cows have a large number of people who come in contact with infected cows, there is an increased chance of the H5N1 virus also directly affecting humans and beginning that process of adapting to replication and spread within humans themselves. So it's not spreading from human to human yet, but we can't rule that out. It's an extremely contagious strain of influenza that has been sweeping across the globe, targeting and hitting a large number of animals that we never recorded influenza like this in them before. This stuff is everywhere. Recently I reported that dozens of cats in a farm were drinking raw milk off the ground, and all of them got sick and died. Blindness, all kinds of wild ailments, all from drinking raw milk. Without the pasteurization process, or double pasteurization process to make sure, it is it's hard to know if this is going to transmit to human beings. If we're susceptible to it and we're drinking milk, not just raw milk, but normal, let's say whole milk, pasteurization process deactivates the virus within the liquid, but it doesn't mean that it's dead. It's heated up to a certain temperature for a long time to make sure it kills pathogens. That's the way it's been done a long time. Otherwise, you can't drink cattle milk, cow milk. It is extremely dangerous to ingest milk in raw form. Was it one of the Carolinas? Should have had this pulled up already, but there are people that are for drinking raw milk, like raw bovine milk, and I'll tell you, these people are going to die. It is not a question of if or when, it's just like, how much are you drinking and why? Stop that. Stop drinking raw milk. And when I say raw milk, of course, that doesn't mean the kind of you pull off the shelf, like vitamin D, whole milk, and skim milk, and all that. It is specifically raw milk you can get, and people I've seen report drink it, consume it even. Absolutely horror show that would follow the illness, the sickness. It would be out of something body horror for a human being to get this viral load from drinking raw milk. And it's not just cattle. We can assume that every state that has cattle farms is H5N1 in cattle. That's what we're looking at now. Now you have the people that are working on the farms, you have the people that are doing the transportation, the people that are doing any of the labor work adjacent to dairy farms, because we don't know how far this stuff can travel airborne from cattle to human or from cattle to cattle. It can travel very long distances. It's not just in birds, but it's also airborne itself. Technically known as H5N1, bird flu has been detected in 8 Curry County herds, although no deaths reported. What happens is that it turns the cow's milk into a thick, yellowy substance that comes out instead. I've never heard of cows getting sick and secreting such a substance like sick milk, sour milk. I've heard that before, but never in a way like it's like thick and yellow, creamy. Not normal. And I hope the cows can return it back to normal after they beat this illness. Because I have not been hearing about cows dying from H5N1. But again, there's more testing needs to be required. They're going to have to test any cow that is feverish, that's having all sorts of influenza symptoms. Maybe just being sick. A sick cow, I don't think would be hard to spot. You can check his forehead. Let's see, boop, boop, boop. Boop, boop. Raw milk, okay, Yeah, extensive federal food checks prior to human consumption. She believes it is safe to eat poultry and drink milk with one exception. Raw milk and raw milk products may not undergo the same processes to inactivate the virus. I have very large concerns about the safety of raw milk. Raw milk right now should be treated as something, a substance that can make you very, very, very ill right now. The amount that they are detecting in pasteurized milk, the virus, even though it's inactivated, but it's still present in milk that's been pasteurized. Unpasteurized milk, they're finding live viruses of H5N1 within it. That is super dangerous. So cats, any dogs, any kind of animal that that human would feed raw milk to unpasteurized milk to their animals, especially, is cruel. This causes blindness, a whole bunch of other things in dogs and cats whenever they get sick. Especially the dogs and cats that are drinking raw milk from the sick cow himself. Or if somebody's giving raw milk to their cats or dogs. Those cats or dogs it's going to be a very painful time. Because the symptoms that I'm seeing reported, especially in cats, is just awful. They go blind, their spines, they have like crooked bones, organ failure. It's a whole host of, this stuff is brutal. This H5N1 strain is really brutal stuff. And it's been infecting dolphins. off the coast of Florida, a dolphin died due to H5N1. The same symptoms that killed cats. Cats died with the same symptoms. It's dolphins, penguins, all sorts of birds, polar bears, dogs, cats, cattle, human. Now those last two are important because it's us and cattle, or species on this planet that are not, I don't mean dominant, but just there, present in a huge chain globally. Cattle are shipped around the entire world. It's not like they're just cattle that don't move in this. No, they're shipped around all the time. So it's utterly insane to think that they have to test cows now, because the amount of cows that are being moved all the time, to hold up these processes could be really painful to farmers and dairy farmers, anybody that's purchasing cows, slaughter for any other reason. This might change milk markets, especially if somebody gets sick, a human being gets sick from drinking raw milk. We're going to know exactly what kind of symptoms human beings get when they drink raw milk. Just looking at for real quick. I apologize about that interruption. Like, raw milk will cause you great sickness, especially right now. If there is a dairy farm local to you that is testing positive for their H5N1 and you're buying that milk, you should know if it's safe or not. Pasteurization deactivates virus, but it might not be enough as people, their hands gets on their body, their arm, and breathing it in as they are milking the cow especially. Okay, I just pulled this up. Australia, this is from sbsnews.com.au. Australia has recorded its first human case of H5N1. A child. Okay, so this is a child. A child has become Australia's first confirmed case of H5N1, revealed on the same day another strain was detected on a Victorian farm. So this is the first case of H5N1, which I believe the first human case of H5N1 was in Texas. This new one is in Michigan, and Australia is reporting their first case of H5N1 in a human being. This is a child, though. This isn't an adult. This isn't a dairy worker. No, they could be a dairy worker as a child. I don't know. When does he gotta work? Bird flu detected at Victorian egg farm. This is not H5N1, this is H7N7 strain, different to the highly pathogenic H5N1 variant. The marine mammals, especially dolphins, like, you're gonna be getting sick and washing up dead. Because I don't think I've heard of a dolphin getting influenza before. Not before this year. What is happening? Avian influenza is a highly contagious viral infection. which can cause severe symptoms and sudden death in domestic poultry, wiping out entire populations. This is very, very serious. This is, I'm not doom speaking, or what do you call it, doom scrolling. I'm not trying to scare or spread information that's false. Is what we're seeing now is H5N1 in human beings on two completely different parts of the world, Australia and the United States. A second dairy worker has contracted bird flu, CDC reports. The new case and a Michigan farm worker did not suggest that bird flu was widespread in people, health officials said, adding that the risk to the general public remained low. Yeah, because the general public isn't working with cattle. But it is easy to see just the extent of people that work on farms, not just on cattle, with cattle, specifically, but cattle adjacent. This is airborne, and they're still going to be able to get infected. People that have to move hay, bales, anything that was, let's say, a cow roped up on. Seeing a lot of like snot and eye gug, all this stuff coming out of cows that are sick, and they're giving a thick yellow milk instead of anything edible, anything like, I hope like they're able to determine why cattle are turning out this milk that are sick. And it's a lot of milk that's has to go to waste for the season. It's changing milk already as we know it. Because drinking unpasteurized milk right now is inviting yourself open to be patient zero. From milk to human, not just cow working on a cow with a cow. Last month the CDC reported H5N1. It was a Texas dairy farm worker. Now it is a Michigan dairy farm worker. But the speed at which product and animals move around the planet, it is very hard, if not impossible, to determine whereabouts is, especially if they can determine that this virus infecting this human being in Michigan is the same strain, the same virus that was detected in the man in Texas, and just today, a child in Australia with the same strain of H5N1. It's infecting globally all around the world without being seasonal. Does that make sense? H5N1 is everywhere all at once. It's not just this area of the planet. It's not just affecting this season of this country. It seems to be set entire world over and infecting a large range of mammals that even include marine mammals. Have not seen anything regarding whales and H5N1, but definitely dolphins. So it's any mammal, I think, at this point could be considered a host of this virus. It's just taking over in a way that wasn't anticipated. Because what does that mean whenever it's marine mammals? Dolphins, beluga whales, you know, the things that you would encounter at a zoo that you would be able to see if it gets sick or not. But according to the CDC, a nasal swab from the individual had tested negative for the H5N1 virus, but an eye swab sent to the agency tested positive. It's just like these cats that were testing positive for the virus. It had the virus testing it positive from their nose, from their eyes, from their mouth swabs, all over. And the cats were just writhing in agony and horrible deaths. Terrible. Like, it's one thing about cats. It's another thing to feed them raw milk, whatever kind of belief this is, but it's bovine milk in the first place. It's not like the cats have access to dairy in the wild. But animals get weaned off for milk for a reason, because it gets complicated and messy. We're trying to keep milk healthy, make sure that the pasteurization process is working. I haven't heard anything about double pasteurization. That might be next whenever it comes to fear starting to grip sales of milk products, because it's not just, you're not just talking about whole milk, talking about butter, you're talking about everything. Anything whole milk, anything milk. Without the pasteurization process is extremely risky to ingest, consume. Terrible. Veterinarians have reported that some farm workers have developed flu-like symptoms, but few farmers and farm workers have agreed to be tested for the cause. Son of a bitch. So we could have had more people testing positive for H5N1, but they don't want to be tested for the virus. You see the long-term effects of people not wanting to take their medicine, what happens? People not wanting to get a vaccine injection. Even if it was pill, they wouldn't want to take it. It's not about being an injection. Even people that I knew that were pathological about needles got the injection, got the shot. But the people that are not getting flu shots are at great risk here, and they're putting themselves at great risk. Because what if someone that drink raw milk that doesn't get influenza vaccines or any vaccines, this virus is going to seriously mess them up. I'm not even joking. I am trying to find the article that were people in the Carolinas, proponents of raw milk drinking, and one of them came down with a severe case of influenza, but they're not wanting to be tested, so it's not coming up H5N1. These people are severely being assholes. Absolutely. But they're not going to be tested, they're not want to go to the doctor, they want to get better though, but they don't give a fuck about spreading this disease and infection to other people because they don't understand how it works. This is something that is still gripping the entire planet. We're talking about entire cattle farms in the United States loaded with this virus. Now we have humans testing positive on 2 different continents at the same time, one child. This is going to happen quick, is my fear. It used to be dengue fever in Brazil. Is really, really, really contagious and is just everywhere. But H5N1 is infecting animals outside of humans at a rapid pace, making them very sick. Cows were not thought to be susceptible to the virus, and the virus spread undetected among them with no visible symptoms. The virus had been detected in some dairy herds with no known leaks to affected farms, suggesting that the virus spread among asymptomatic cows and that there are infected herds that are not yet been identified. I imagine it's really expensive to do this testing process and laborious, but one of the biggest symptoms of the cow, as we've mentioned, testing positive, is a thick yellow milk that comes out. The people that are milking the cows, does the cow still need to be milked if it's giving sour milk? And I mean like real sour milk, not like just a little off milk. I'm talking about like thick yellowish milk that comes out that a lot of these dairy farmers are saying they haven't really experienced before. So it is, everything's always new, but let's see. So total human cases reported should be 3 now. Texas and there we go. Okay. Add Michigan to that list. 4 more cats die of H5N1 bird flu in the U.S. This is from BNO News. 4 more cats have died of H5N1 bird flu in the United States, including 2 pets in South Dakota, with no links to poultry or dairy cows, according to state and federal officials. At least 14 cats have recently died of bird flu. So 2 other cases in Michigan involving barn cats on commercial dairy farms where cows were also infected with H5N1. So on the property in Iona County, 2 Virginia possums were also infected with the bird flu virus. So let's just say it's all mammals. All mammals are susceptible to the H5N1 strain, and it is spreading at a very rapid pace, infecting everything all at once, it seems. Because it's not just in one part of the area, one part of the world. Earlier this month, officials confirmed that a domestic cat in Montana was also infected with H5N1 after exhibiting neurological signs and the discovery of a dead skunk on the property. It is unclear if the skunk was also infected. And so only 3 human cases have been reported, 1 poultry and 2 cattle. But this is how it's going to go. We're going to keep an eye on the CDC numbers and the most recent news coming out of especially dairy farms. It is it's a pandemic. H5N1 is a pandemic. It is globally spread, it is infecting mammals across the globe at an alarming rate, and it is present in species across the globe at all times instead of just being this part of the hemisphere for this season. Could be due to climate change, could be due to a lot of different reasons, but more importantly, it's be taken seriously. Because this is just beginning, testing is just starting, and there's at least a dozen people that are refusing to be tested, even though they're expressing symptoms of H5N1 or influenza. Very troubling news to read that, especially if people don't report it, don't get tested. Because if you're a high-risk person, of course, like, you know, you're working on a dairy farm, it's let me catch up, because that one person goes to the store that has 400 people in it. Those 400 people, let's say 200 people go east and on 80 people go west, and those people go into a store again themselves, let's say 80 different stores, and the rest of them go home to their families. You see how fast this fucking spreads? It is absolutely imaginable just how quickly this can spread from human to human, because we've been seeing this spread between mammal to mammal all fucking year. Now it's killing cats that have no cattle around them, no dairy farm around them. So it is a question of, are they feeding the cat milk? What kind of milk? Is it raw milk? Is it pasteurized milk even? I thank you for joining me here. Thank you for your interest in a topic. If you want to support me, please like the stream, subscribe to the channel. It helps me out immensely. I will keep my eyes and ears on any new news regarding H5N1. As of right now, it is still the huge billboard. Oh, it's a week ago. And so 4 more cats. It is sad. I have cats myself, and it is alarming. All right. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching. I should been wanting to stream more lately. I had to take a short break due to mental health concerns, but I feel back, feel good, feel happy. I hope you're happy too. I hope you're finding what makes you happy, and if this stream makes me happy, and do it for myself, you know. Really feel that it can reach a certain number of people as it has before in the past, but even when it doesn't, I still want to do it. That's the tell. All right, let me one quick check. Went over all of the covered all that I had up today. I thank you. Please take care.